श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रं धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवं यतीन्द्रपर्वणं वन्दे रम्यजामातरं मुनिम् अखिलात्मगुणावासम् अज्ञानतिमिरावहम् आश्रितानां सुशरणं वन्दे अनन्तार्यदेशिकं श्रीमद्रामानुजाचार्य श्रीपादाम्बोरुहद्वयं सदुत्तमाङ्गसन्तार्यम् अनन्तार्यम् अहं भजे. Namaskaram to all devotees gathered on this auspicious occasion of the inaugural ceremony of the trust known as VIRAT at United Kingdom. Adiyan TCA Venkatesan, I am reaching out to you on this occasion from Detroit, Michigan. The name VIRAT we see occurs in Purusha Suktam, where it says Tasmat Virata Jayata. From that Paramapurusha comes the Virat Purusha. The Virat name in general has a meaning of cosmic being. We see this word occurs in Srimad Bhagavatam also in many places, where it comes under the same sense of a cosmic being or the body of everything. In the Visishtadvaita Sampradayam, one of the core principles is known as Shariratma Bhava. That is, just as the human soul uses the physical body that we all have as its vehicle, as its body, so too the Paramapurusha uses everything as his body. So Perumal has the entire universe as his body. This principle, this sambandham, is known as Shariratma Bhava. And this is defined in Visishtadvaitam. The name Visishtadvaitam itself comes from Shuta Prakashika Bhattar. In his commentary on Swami Ramanuja's Vedartha Sangraham, the commentary known as Vedartha Sangraha Tatparya Deepikai, he defines Advaitam and says it is not Shankaracharya's Advaitam. He says Natu Nirvisesha Advaitam. It is not the Nirvisesha Advaitam of Shankaracharya. Instead it is Apitu Visishtadvaitam. That is, it is known as Visishtadvaitam. This name has not occurred before, but the principle has always been there. It is not that Ramanuja created it or Shuta Prakashika Bhattar defined it. It has always been there. We see it in the works of prior Acharyas, Alvars and Rishis before them. But it was formalized and codified by Swami Ramanuja, and the name was given by Shuta Prakashika Bhattar. So the name Visishtadvaitam has a very close relationship with Swami Ramanuja. It is appropriate that this name Virat, after Visishtadvaitam, which is in the first two letters, follows with the name Ramanuja. But it is not just Ramanuja that is important to us. It is important that we be Ramanuja's dasas. So it is correct that the next letter is Adiyargal. So Visishtadvaita Ramanuja Adiyargal. Guru Paramparai has many occasions where Acharyas of our Sampradayam tell their primary disciples not to be content or have ego in something that they have accomplished, and instead rest in the fact that they are Ramanuja dasas. Thiruvarangat Tamudanatu says in his Ramanuja Uttandadi, Nalvediyargal Tolum Thirupadani Ramanusani Tolum Periyor Ezhunthiraithaduminam Adiyenukku Irupidam. It is not that Ramanuja alone that we look for a relationship. We actually look for the relationship with Ramanuja's devotees. Therefore, being Ramanuja's dasas and being associated with Ramanuja dasas is what is very important to us. So that this name carries all that makes it very, very good. And the inauguration of this trust has a discussion on Alvars and Acharyas Anubhavam of Sri Rama. This is a very, very vast topic and it cannot be covered very quickly. However, we can touch briefly on a few things. Swami Nammalvar says, Karpar Iramabiranayallal Mattum Karparo. You could have easily said Karpar Kannabiranayallal Mattum Karparo. But he makes it very clear that it is Sri Rama's story, Ramayanam, that is very important to us, and that will anybody learn anything but Sri Ramayana. The same thing is echoed by a Jain Ilangovadigal in his work Silappadigaram, in which he says, Tennilangai Tollilangai Kattalitha Sevagan Seer Kelada Seviyenna Seviye. The same sentiment of Nammalvar is told by a Jain. Andal too starts by enjoying Sri Krishna very heavily in Tirupavai, but when she calls about the greatness of Trivikrama, she immediately follows by talking about Rama. She says, Andri Buragam Alandai Adibotri, and then immediately says, Sendrangu Tennilangi Kone Setrai Thiral Botri. We also see she calls Rama as Manathu Kiniyan in another place, and so on and so forth. There are many references to Ramayana in the work Tiruppavi, even though it is in the Anukaram of a Gopika and enjoying Krishna Bhakti, even there she is unable not to talk about Sri Rama. Kulasekara Alva's Anubham of Sri Rama is an entire subject by itself. When we come to our Acharyas, we see that in the many Vyakhyanams, the commentaries for Divya Prabandham, Itihasams, Stotrams, Puranams and so on, that they are unable not to use Ramayana. In fact, they use Ramayana more than anything else we can say. In our Sampradayam, we say Sri Ramayanam and Thiruvaimozhi are the mothers, that is the walls that protect our Sampradayam. The great Swami Ramanuja himself, in Thiruvangathamana's Ramanujathunadi, he is called as Padigonda Kirti Ramayanamennum Patti Vellam Kudigonda Koil Ramanujan. That is, Ramanuja is a temple, and inside the temple, you know what we have? We have Ramayanam, which is actually a bhakti. That bhakti, which is personified, or we can say is in the form of Sri Ramayanam, is what is inside that temple. We see that in Guru Parampara, it is told that Ramanuja learnt Sri Ramayanam for 1 year from Periya Thirumalai Nambi. He had gone there and he was in the foothills of Tirupati. He did not want to climb up the hills. Periya Thirumalai Nambi, who was in the mountain top with the temple, would come down every day and teach Swami Ramanuja the meanings of Srimad Ramayanam at the foothill. That place where he was learning is known as Adipuli. It was a tamarind tree under which Ramanuja sat and got the meanings of this Ramayanam from Periya Thirumalai Nambi every day, not for just 1 day, 1 week, 1 month and so on. It was for an entire year. It is not that Ramanuja did not know the meanings of Srimad Ramayanam. In fact, we can say he could have easily learned the meanings himself, being a great scholar himself. As we see, even in his young age, he was able to correct his own Acharya Yadav Prakasha when he misinterpreted a Sanskrit verse. Such was his knowledge. So it is not that he could not have known the meanings of Sri Ramayanam by himself or from some other Acharyas, but he needed to learn it from a proper Acharya, and he took an entire year to learn that. And that tells us or gives us an important lesson to all of us. Ramanuja was not interested in just spending a little bit of time and learning its meanings, but he was willing to dedicate an entire year. It's not that he did not have other things to do. He had a lot of things to take care of in the Sampradayam. Yet, he knew the importance of this and he was willing to find and spend that time. And that is a lesson for all of us. I have been asked to say, how do I balance my Laukika life, my career and so on, my job, etc., along with spending time in the Sampradayam? And that is simple by the fact that we need to find that time. We all find time to do many other things. We go grocery shopping, we go to the movies, we go to a music concert, we go to watch sports, we look at the TV most of the days, and so on and so forth. When it comes to our children, if they have some particular event, we all go take part in that. We go to birthday parties, we organize birthday parties. So it is not that we do not have the time. It is how we find the time to do what is important for us. Even in office, some people say, hey, today I will not be able to do certain things because I had to go take care of my children or my wife or my husband and so on. And the office gives you permission. So we are willing to express all that in the office, but we are not willing to express that the time we need for our Sampradayam. I used to learn martial arts many years ago, and on some days, there will be only just 2 or 3 people who show up to class. And in fact, those were the best days we had because the instructor would be more driven to teach many more things on that day. But one of the things that my instructor told me at the time has always stuck with me. He would say, in life, people always find 99 excuses not to do something that they want to do. But you need to find that one reason to do what we want to do. So that's true not only for that particular situation, it's true for all of us in all situations. But in this particular case, it is very important because everything else that we do is for the Deha Yatre, that is the passage of this body. But what are we doing for our Atma Yatre? How do we take care of the passage of this soul in this world? Some people think that just because they have done Samashram with an Acharya, that they have done Sharanagati, that alone is sufficient. That is enough to show that we have expressed our Sharanagati at Perumal's divine feet through the mediation of an Acharya. But there is still time that needs to be spent in this world, and we call it that Kalakshepam. In Tamil we say Purudupok, that is the spending of time. The spending of time is not wasting of time, it is spending of time, and spending of time has to be done in the right place. So how do we do that? How do I do that? So those of you who have used acharya.org website know that it is a pretty comprehensive site. It still has a lot of things that it needs, but it also has a lot of information. But that did not happen overnight. It's been there for more than 20 years. And the growth of that site has been done not in huge steps, but in small steps almost every day. I used to try to do a addition once a day if I could, and we did that. We have been doing that for so many years. When I say we, I have been doing that for so many years, and it is by that 20-year growth that it has come to this point. And of course, when I say I don't mean just by myself. While I have maintained, created, and run the site for a long time, there are also others who have been in the background contributing to it by scanning books and so on. So each of them did a small amount of work over time. I did small amounts of work over time, and it grew into a large thing. In Tamil, we have a saying called Siru Tuli Peruvellam. That is, the large flood is made of millions and millions of small drops. So too, our effort can start small. Spend like 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. Give that time each day consistently, and over time you will notice that your thing is growing into a larger thing. You yourself will start spending a little bit more time than you started with, and eventually you will find more and more time. It can be accommodated, it's not impossible. You just have to have the heart to try and do it. But it is not enough that you do it for your own self, you need to do it also as a service to others. Because our Sampradayam is not the individual soul alone attaining Paravadam, experiencing Perumal and doing Kainkariam for him. We all are doing that service together with Perumal. Andal says, Udi irundu kudirndeyalur embavai. We also see that Periyalva says, Surundirundethavar Pallandi. Nammalva says, Andamil Perinbattu Adiyarodu irundame. So, it is not a Sampradayam of the individual soul like having the Kaivalya Moksha and experiencing by itself, but it is together. That's why we need to have the same thing in this world as a Satsangam. So that kind of growth is not to be done just for the self, but as a service to others too. And as you do that, you will realize that you would want to do more and more. And that is not just for the individual, it is also true for an organization. So if this organization too, with all of your help, attempts to slowly grow and attempts to send the message of, or spread the message of the Purvacharyas and Alvars to everyone, it too in small steps will grow into a large organization and be a significant contributor to the growth of the Sampradaya. I pray to Pirindevi Tayar and Peruralan and all Alvars and Acharyas to bless this organization on this day and going forward to contribute more and more to our great Sampradaya. Alvar Emberemanar Jiya Thiruvilesharam Adiye Madhura Kavidasan.